County Center for History and Culture, also known as the St. Lawrence County Historical Association. Yeah, it is an opportunity to welcome you as board members and as members of the organization to the Silas Wright House and the Red Barn Museum. I'm just going to take a few minutes to sort of recognize people, basically the board officers. I'm Bill Flynn. I'm the president of the organization. Mike Draper, I don't believe is here today, unless he's on Zoom. He is the vice president. The secretary is Lynn Matot, and she's right over there. And Emily Hastings, right here, is our treasurer. We do have a few board members here today. Tim Kreiderman is here. I'm going to ask you to participate a little bit. When I call your name, if you're here, would you tell people where you're from? Just so people get the idea of the breadth of our board.
I'm from Madrid.
And Tom Daly, I don't know if Tom is here, but he's a member from Colton. And Stan Main is a Potsdam representative. He's not here today. Diana Fisher is here. And where are you from?
I'm from Madrid.
And Carol Updike is here. She's from.
I'm from Norfolk.
And Cheryl Schenkel O'Neill is here on Zoom. Cheryl, where are you from?
I'm from DeKalb Junction.
And Sharon Tavernier is here, and she's from.
Ken.
So you can kind of see we're spread out throughout the county. We'd like to get as broad a representation as we possibly can countywide. So if there's anybody here today who'd be interested in becoming a board member from any of those communities or other communities in St. Lawrence County, please let us know, because we do have room on the board for a new member or two. With us today is the important people, and they are the staff people who run this day-to-day operation. And our executive director is Arlene Berman. There she is. Computer wizard at large. Is Megan in the room? Here's Megan back there.
Yeah.
This is Megan Royce.
Our Zoom wizard today.
She has the fancy title of Engagement and Advancement Coordinator. And Caitlin here, there's Caitlin Medlock. And Caitlin, I'm sorry, I'm in trouble speaking today. Caitlin is our administrative assistant and museum attendant. Sarah Lynch
He's
is,
also here. Yeah,
is she here?
right out that way.
Okay. Sarah is our buildings and grounds keeper. And we have a custodian who is Becky. Sorry.
She's not here.
She's not. Okay. I also want to recognize two staff members who are no longer with us, but did spend part of the year with us. One, Mariana Locke, who many of you have met, and Colleen McKiernan, who was a very involved, I guess, administrative assistant.
She wore many hats.
Yes, and I spent some time with her at a few of the outreach programs last summer, and she's always a very willing participant in those events. So anyway, we've had people come and take over for those that have left, and we've had a smooth operation this year, focusing on some really big projects, including the garden project, which is probably one of the more popular projects. And that will continue into next year as well. Obviously, the quarterly magazine project, which is an ongoing project, and anyone who is a potential author is welcome to participate and have your articles printed in quarterly, historic in nature. The brick pathway project is a new project involving, really the garden and, pathways coming in from the, East Main Street into the Silas Wright House. We've involved in other projects as well, but, I don't want to take everybody's thunder away this morning, so I'll leave it there. We do have some big fundraisers, this year, the auction being the one that just finished yesterday. We also did an Adirondack chair and fire pits raffle, and we have a John Morrow print raffle coming up. We've involved ourselves much more in promoting the museum and trying to raise revenue through activities and projects rather than selling things. But the selling things piece has to be a part of our nature until we're able to do it without selling objects and raffle tickets and so on. We've applied for and received some great grants, including a project grant for this whole rebranding of the museum. I think you've noticed this year that we've really changed our focus from St. Lawrence County Historical Association, moving into this cultural and historical new type for our ongoing into the future museum and Silas Wright House. We have obtained a grant for a huge window project, and that is going to be ongoing for a while. It is to replace windows in the Silas Wright House. We also have been doing some receiving some donations. One, to refresh this gallery, a gift of $10,000 from CCOM. And a special thank you to Scott Wilson for that. And also, we've done a refresh of the gift shop this year. It looks completely different. Credit going to Wayne for that redesign. We're looking ahead. We've got some big spring event planned. We're not sure what it is. It's a big secret at this point. But we're working with a fundraising coordinator to develop that project. We will obviously be finishing the path project and the garden project. And we'll continue with publications of the Wright House, which, by the way, looked really good, this last one that came out online, and the quarterly project. And we will be looking forward to figuring out a way to fund a new roof for the Silas Wright House, a new shingle roof, cedar shake roof. And we're looking at trying to come up with the funding for new siding for the Red Barn. And long range, my goal, we're going to hopefully at some point develop an outdoor education space for students. And with that, I guess it's my job to turn it over to the next speaker. Who is Lynn Matap?
Yes, welcome. Lynn, can you sort of the podium, not putting your wrist in the page? You received the people that are on committees received my list with the little green tab at the bottom. Shows your participation. If anyone else is here that would be interested in joining a committee, you can speak to me or Carlene, because you don't have to be a member. You don't have to be a board member to be on a committee. So we have, like archives and collections, and several people that are on the committee and that work here, volunteer, but they aren't members. So I encourage you, if you'd like to get involved in the work of the Historical Association, the Center for Culture and History, to consider it. So my deal, I guess, is that I ask for people to vote on the minutes. I read through them and everything looks okay.
I have a correction in the minutes.
Pardon?
I have a correction for the minutes. A minor correction. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay, my daughter's name is misspelled. It's Lyndsay, not Lind.
Okay. L-Y, say it again.
Lyndsay.
A-Y, Lindsay, okay. Okay, is her last name is okay?
The
Her
last
last,
name is fine. Yeah,
okay.
it's just the first name.
Okay. And for those of you who don't know, Lindsay was someone who volunteered, last fall while she was here at the meeting, and she sadly passed away in the winter.
In April.
She was very young, it was very sad. There was someone who actually enjoyed working here. She was helping me with, the photograph folders upstairs, and actually was a big help. She got way ahead of me. That's good.
She really enjoyed working with you, Lynn. Until she got too sick to come. She really enjoyed it. So it's certainly, as you mentioned, a worthwhile endeavor for any young person or old person to come and work in the archives and learn a lot more about history. She was really fascinated with looking at some of those old photos.
Yeah. That's one thing that I started doing as a volunteer, and I understand we have another volunteer that's gonna take my place. Because all the board activities and quarterly activities have consumed my time, is scanning the photographs and putting them in files so that you can find them. And then eventually they'll get put into Past Perfect, which is the museum database. Do I have any more comments on the? I'm not supposed to read them. I don't have to read them aloud. Do I? Just a vote.
Yeah, you just need to go ahead.
Then, have a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make the motion with the correction.
A second? I'll second. Okay, okay. All those in favor of, approving the minutes from last year, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Okay, then the minutes have been accepted. Thank you. Next on the agenda is Charlie report.
Okay. So Bill stole a little bit of my thunder with some updates, but I've still got plenty more to update you on. So again, I just want to thank everybody so much for being here. We have a great mixture today of board members, volunteers, interns, members. So we're all happy that you can join us, whether in person or online. And of course, Bill did recognize the staff, and the board members already. I just wanted to say, since I couldn't do anything that I do without the help of the board members and the staff, to just thank them personally, for everything they help me with on a day-to-day basis. And I will be recognizing all of the volunteers individually, a little bit later, after I give you some other updates and we do a little more business. So it has been a busy year here at the newly rebranded St. Lawrence County Center for History and Culture, as Bill said. Now that name became official in May. We are still, it's DBA, so all of our legal paperwork and everything still says St. Lawrence County Historical Association, but we are operating under this new name with the hopes that it helps us to tell more diverse and inclusive stories about the people who lived here in St. Lawrence County and who continue to live here. Part of the rationale of the rebranding was also to kind of modernize ourselves a little bit. We have some new colors in our logo that was actually inspired by the barn quilts. An example of which, for those of you who are here in person, we have a barn quilt mural hanging in the gallery, which was a project done with Tawny in 2020. So it kind of happened or 2019, right before the pandemic. And each town in the county is represented by a symbol, a quilt symbol that is on that panel. So we were inspired by that, and that is actually what our new logo is based off of. It is a photograph of the Red Barn, which is the addition to the historic Silas Wright House that we are all sitting in. That is what the logo was designed off of, and we are playing with some other designs based on barn quilts that we're going to have some new products coming out soon for the gift shop, and hopefully something to represent every town in the county soon. So stay tuned. You will see a few new products in the gift shop right now that do have some new water bottles, mugs, pens. We have a few new things we just got in with our new brand on them. So we are pretty excited about that. In addition to the rebranding project, we also launched a new website that actually became active last summer, and we are still working on it. It is hopefully more user-friendly, has a lot more photos. We're still working on uploading some of the old research databases and things that were on our old website, but that platform was from the 1990s, so it was pretty needed a lot of updating, let's just say, and some of the things we wanted to add we couldn't actually do with the functionality of that website. So now it is a WordPress platform that we can edit ourselves. And one of the exciting things that is coming on the website are some better guides to what we have in our collection. So not only finding aids, but also actual images of some of the materials, better list of what we have. And eventually, this is still probably at least a year or so out, but to actually have an online collections database where you can actually search a lot of the things we have, because we have so much here that people are just not aware of. We actually have a rather large collection. We do have many of the quarterlies, not all of them, but many of them have been digitized, and the PDFs are available online in a searchable database, which is another exciting new update. We're also trying to keep it up to date with upcoming events and programs, and we have improved our social media and our marketing communications this year as well. So we're trying to stay in touch with people, to stay relevant and connect more of what we do to contemporary events and things going on in the county today, in addition to just being focused on the more distant past of this area. Another new exciting project this year, of course, the garden project is something that I originally dreamed up about 2 years ago, and it's taken, as many things do, a little longer to become a reality than we hoped, because there was a lot of deferred maintenance and cleanup that needed to happen. But we were very excited when the new brick pathway was put in July, which has actually more than doubled the visitation coming in. I'd say half of our visitors come in through the front door now, so that's pretty exciting. We have a chime that tells us when people are entering, so we can make sure we greet them. I'll be talking a little bit more about the people involved to make that happen later, but I did just want to give a shout out to Dr. Molly Mott, who is our volunteer garden program coordinator, who really has been instrumental in advising us for the garden and the next steps and what we're doing, and also putting a lot of hours of her own time to do the work. So like everything else we do here, we couldn't do it without our volunteers. From our board members who are volunteering their time to, of course, our just day-to-day volunteers who come in to help with many projects. Other new things this year, what I've been calling adventure tours that have been happening across the county. So the rationale behind these was to get people out and about to actually see some of the history that we like to talk about, through photographs and documents here, but it's not the same as experiencing it. So we had a paddling tour that happened in Pirates, and if anyone got to see the slideshow that we had on the loop, a lot of those pictures were highlighting some of the new programs and all of the mini events and outreach that we did this year. We also had 2 hikes, history hikes, thanks to Bell Hill, who, for those of you who either participated or have maybe heard the name, He actually has a blog and 2 books he's written about, history throughout the county. We do have them available in the gift shop, but he very generously, donated his time to lead, 2 of those hikes. One was in Colton, and the other was at Streeter Lake, which was a little far out, almost in the Adirondacks. But both very interesting, and we do hope to do more of those next year, in addition to more of the paddling tours. Another new program we introduced this year were garden tours. So as fundraisers for the garden project, we had 2 garden tours that took place, at Pat Dominy's garden, in Morley. So we got to see her beautiful space. And also Ann Shetty, who's not here today, but, we just went to visit her garden at a few weeks ago in October, and, Molly and Pat both got to come and see that, and that program was more focused on preparing your beds for the winter. And so even doing things, you know, all season, year round, that really tie into different aspects of what's going on in the county to get people out and about. So stay tuned for more of those next year. I've also been working to increase visitation to the museum, not just walk-in visitors, but school groups as well, and public groups. So we have a new tier system we're working on for room rentals, so groups could come and use this space for various meetings and projects. We have had both adult and student visitors come this year. And we also, thanks to the help of Dallas Robinson, who some of you may know, he's a historic reenactor, not here today, but also helped me a few times during the summer and late spring. We were able to go into some of the local schools, Governor Middle School twice, and also into Potsdam to actually do some presentations in schools related to the Civil War and to be in costume, which was pretty exciting. We mentioned some of the building projects going on. So this gallery was recently repainted. A lot of our lighting was upgraded to LEDs. We are working on the siding, the roof. There's a lot of exterior maintenance that still needs to happen, but we are chipping away at it. And yes, thanks to some very generous grants. So from the Adirondack Architectural Heritage and the National Park Service, that is where the funding to restore our historic windows came from. Because the Silas Wright House is in the National Register, we had to make sure any work that we do on the exterior of the house has to fit certain standards and it has to be historic. So that is one of the few grant opportunities that allowed us to do the work in the way we needed to do it, which is very expensive. Another grant we received was NYSCA, so the New York State Council of the Arts, and that has helped to support, it's actually helped to pay for staffing, which is, of course, always one of the biggest expenses for nonprofits. Also some ARPA funds that came via the federal government and some COVID relief funds that were distributed to us through the Chamber of Commerce and the St. Lawrence County IDA. So we are very grateful for that money. That actually allowed us to do our website renovation project and has paid for a lot of the materials related to rebranding. So from things we've gotten in the gift shop to even the new signs outside, which are temporary. We will be having some more permanent signs coming. And finally, a really exciting grant that I'm excited to announce that we just were awarded recently is the NYLEN, Northern New York Library Network grant for $12,000 to allow us to digitize a large collection we have of photographs. They're actually negatives, photographic negatives from the photographer Betty Steele, who was a local photographer who operated, her studio was in Ogdensburg and also in Hubleton for a period of time. And for over 50 years, she documented everything from high school graduations to marriages to urban renewal in Ogdensburg. So there's some pretty important photographs. Again, they're negative. So the process that we were awarded this grant for is to catalog them, rehouse them into some better archival acid-free boxes and to be able to store them better and then ultimately to digitize them to make a lot of those images available. And it's 80,000 images, 80,000 negatives. So it's a massive, massive collection that we never would have been able to even begin to wrap our heads around processing without a grant like this. So we're very excited to be starting that. We have until July of 2026 for the first phase of that project. So we will also be hiring someone part-time to help with the scanning. If anyone knows anybody or is interested and knows a lot about Old Negatives in particular. So yes, lots of collections projects as well, just getting our collection more organized and to know better what we have so we can let the public know more what we have, because research requests are a big part of what we also do here. Now I'll just very quickly, you all have financials in front of you, so I don't want to spend too much time on these, but I will just quickly highlight, now this was year end 2023. But just to give a little perspective, our total income for the year ending 2023 was 103,197.34. And our total expenses were 739.25. So you don't need to have a calculator to tell that there's a deficit there as far as the funding we received and our expenses, which is not uncommon for small nonprofits as well, but some of these larger grants we have received in 2024 will help a lot to defray some of those costs this year. And we've been working hard to get, to go for some new kinds of grants and some alternative funding. We've also been growing our sponsorship program, working on a corporate donation program, and trying to find some more creative ways to also have earned income and to just bring more money into the museum to allow us to do more of these exciting programs, focus more on our collection, and really serve the people of St. Lawrence County the way that we would like to. And just a few other statistics. For those who are into statistics, I always think it's pretty interesting. I love to compare one year to the previous year to kind of see how things have changed. Sorry, I'm just trying to find where my statistics are on my multiple pages. Okay, so some fun statistics. Now, these are as of November 7th, 2024. We had over 455 visitors to the museum in person this year. 80, now that's separate from the 80 people we had just to come in to do research. We had approximately 105 additional research requests that came in through telephone or email. On occasion, they were visitors to the museum who then left follow-ups. We offered 15 public programs, which included our popular Brown Bag lecture series that happens here at the museum. We try to do that every month with the exception of we skipped a few in the summer and the winter usually because we tend to not have very good attendance during those months. People are busy doing lots of other exciting things. But the 15 programs includes brown bags, workshops like our brand new Day of the Dead program, a family workshop we did this year. And that's thanks to Alondra, our intern, who helped to coordinate that. So that was an exciting new thing this year. We had 20 people come to that program and we hope to do that again. There were also pictures of that in the slideshow. And also include off-site, so those different talks and tours that we did. It does not, however, include all of the outreach that we did, that we try to do from late spring through fall, usually mid-September is the last of our outreach, although we were at the last, one of the last farmers markets. We try to go to the Canton and Governor Farmers Market and Potsdam as well if we can every year. So we served 1,393 people in our outreach events. So all of the tabling that we did and the festivals that we participated in. In addition to that, we gave candy to 200 children after the Phantoms in the Park. So that was fun. Caitlin and her best friend dressed up as Frog and Toad and got to stand at our front entrance and hand out a lot of candy. And that is something that Cheryl and Lindsay also did for us the past 2 years. Cheryl, I didn't want to ask you to do it by yourself. I thought that might be sad. And you also had knee surgery. So Caitlin very generously offered to hand out candy this year. We had 290 visitors through either school groups or public groups that came just to tour the museum. We made about $570 in program fees this year and almost $900 in merchandise that we sold off-site at the different events. So that has been one new earned income stream to try to do more of this programming. So I think that's enough statistics for now. I am gonna hand it back over to, I think, to Cheryl. We're doing some elections or re-elections of trustees, and then I will be back a little later to do the official volunteer recognition.
A question
Yes, of course.
on the money,
Yes.
government funding, where do you get that from?
So, hold on, let me just look at what you're looking at.
It's the 16,222.
Yes, so the government funding in this case, we do, for a long time. It changes, it's not always the same, but we do get some money from St. Lawrence County. We are a private not-for-profit, so it's not money that's guaranteed, it's something that we actually apply for every year. But they have generously been giving us some funding for, I don't know how far back that goes, but, that is what we received in 2023. And it was actually a little higher in 2024.
Nothing's available from the state other than the grants.
Mostly grants, the NISCA money is actually state money. The money that we received through, so the Arch money is, it's kind of interesting, that's actually federal money. It's from the National Park Service, but it's kind of given to Arch and they reappropriate it locally. There was little state money, so the money that came through some of the ARPA funds, we actually received a second ARPA grant that we mostly exhausted at the end of 2022. There was a little bit of state money there as well. And then Canton Main Street is another grant that we often get, which is some local money, so.
But New York State doesn't directly fund museums.
No.
But we have a SAM grant that we applied for.
Yes,
Many
that's a
grants.
federal grant. In 2018, we applied.
It's a state.
Oh, it's
State.
okay.
In 2018, we were awarded it in 2019. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. It's with Senator Patty Ritchie and of course. The legislature and the governor are Democrats. And so it's been very tough for people who were awarded those to receive them now that there's a different administration. So we keep reapplying for it, but it was for $50,000, which would have done some
Right.
of the exterior and windows.
Yeah, the problem with the SAM grant money is that it's very restricted in what it can be used for, and half of the projects that we had applied for in the initial application had been done over the past 6 years because they really needed to be done, like the windows were part of that. Some of the other projects we did to just maintain the museum, so we had to change the scope, and Cheryl's been helping with a lot of our grants. So we had to essentially totally resubmit the application, and also some things they said they would fund before, now they're saying they won't, so it's just been a lot of back and forth, and we're hopeful that at some point we will still perhaps receive that funding. So I will pass it over to Cheryl to do the elections.
Okay, we have one trustee standing for re-election for the 2025 to 2027 term, Timothy Kreiderman. Do we want to do these all together? I'm assuming.
Yes,
Okay, the new trustee standing for election is Sharon Tavernier. I'm not sure if I pronounced her name correctly. She is up for a new term starting 2025 to 2027. So those are the two trustees that we have right now, and I don't know if we have any nominations for additional trustees from the floor or anybody else who's interested in serving.
we didn't have anything that came in through the mail from any ballots we received, so if there's anyone in person or on Zoom, that would be our only other nominations.
Okay. All right, if not, then I guess I would like a motion to approve the two trustees, Tim and Sharon.
I make the motion.
That's Diana. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Emily seconds. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? There was one paper ballot that was turned in with Mr. Kreiderman's approval and Sharon's approval as well.
You're supposed to vote, because I. So, and these in?
I'll take them. I think.
Yeah, you can, I think, well, the mail-in ballots kind of take the place of, I mean, of actual
In-person.
being here,
Right,
so
so
no
if you
technically
already-
have to pull it out, but
We can
If you
count
want to.
either way.
feel free. We put them out, because I wasn't sure.
So both of those have been approved, Cheryl,
Okay,
okay?
all right. I don't know. I think we have officers up for election, but I don't know if that's approved here or at our directors meeting. I thought the annual meeting we approved trustees and at the board meeting we approve officers. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, then I guess that's the end of my report.
thank you.
I get to recognize our donors. This organization would not exist without the generosity of people who give to us financially and through their time. And we recognize our most generous donors through the Rushton Society, named after Jane and Rushton, which recognizes people who've given $500 or more. We have gifts from both individuals and businesses. It's a pleasure to be part of the North Country business community in this organization. And it's lovely to see the support that we also get from local businesses. And the first recognition deserves its own sort of category because of the extraordinary generosity of the Seacom Federal Credit Union and Scott Wilson is responsible for this beautiful refresh. $10,000 is an extraordinary gift. And actually, I would like to recognize them with a round of applause because other local businesses that have supported the organization are North Country Savings Bank, ACO Brands, Mary McGreevy and Mary McGreevy Enterprises, and the St. Lawrence Federal Credit Union. Very appreciated, very generous gifts. The largest category of donations to this organization is individuals. We give from large to small, and we recognize today, for special recognition, our own Bill Flynn, our largest individual donor. To many different causes, and I would say he sort of embodies the person who is there for any cause. I looked at his list of donations and I said, whenever there's a call for money, he'll steps up. I really appreciate that. We also recognize Tim Wright, Jane Plastino, Barry Parker, Linda Kenny, Pat Dominy, Beth Patrick, and Sarah Street, and 2 anonymous donors. And a trust or a memorial is a very special way of honoring this organization. The Barnhart Trust has also given us $1,000 this year. And I would just like to especially recognize the memorial donations that we received in memory of Lindsay Schenkel. Lindsay, as we mentioned, gave up her time. We also received some memorial donations and we're very touched to be able to honor her legacy in that way. Thank you all, and thank you to everyone who has given.
Is there any old business? Or new business? No business?
Bill, I said it, I announced it earlier, but I passed out the list of committees. There's corporate committees and there's some other kind of committees, but I didn't specify. But so everybody should have gotten. Oh, I only gave out copies to the people who are members. I guess I didn't print, I apologize. I didn't print copies for everybody. I had to,
Because I know I'm on.
yeah, so that if you're on a committee, you should have gotten one with a green strip across the top. And if you'd like a copy, I assume the Xerox machine works.
Yes,
I could make a copy to give you, but like I said, I'd like the people that are on committees to look at the list and make sure it's correct. People to consider joining committees. At some point, we need to determine the president of each committee has to be appointed by the president of the organization, Bill Flynn.
Chair.
And
You said the president, like you mean the chair of each.
yes, it's the chair. The committees are, the head of each committee is called the chair. And then ideally, each committee would also have a secretary, so that every month when we have the director's report, we also have reports from the committees that have met. So
Sorry,
I
just for
will-
our online audience, because I don't think they can hear over there. Lynn is actually just talking about the different committees that we have. And if anyone is interested in joining a committee, you do not have to be a board member, so you are welcome to, we have lists we can send you, anyone online.
Okay, yeah, I just.
Okay, is that it for,
Thank you.
yes, Ryan?
I didn't know that on the other committees, there is a civil war committee.
Yeah, that's what we call an ad hoc, so it's not a regular group, it's something that actually meets like for special occasions, they haven't been active lately. But certainly if you're interested, I can add you to that when there is any activity in that group. Okay, so you'd like me to add you to that ad hoc civil war committee, okay,
What's your name again, sir?
Brian.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else in person or online interested in potentially joining a committee? We do some fun stuff. We're actually, on that note, anyone is welcome to stay after this meeting. We are having our collections committee meeting here, and so we can get caught up on all of the sort of updates that have happened in person. So we're happy to take anybody on a tour of the collections if you're interested. The research room and also our third floor object storage space, which is undergoing a lot of moving of stuff currently, but we'd love to give anybody a tour of any of those kind of behind the scenes spaces if you're interested.
I just add that the education committee needs members.
Yes, it also needs a chair to chair, so.
And, it's an important committee, but the people who have been on the committee have either resigned or retired. So that's an extremely important committee, which we need.
Yes, which I brought back last year. We had 2 meetings, but then the chair wasn't available to come and half of the other committee members weren't either. So we kind of stopped meeting, and Dallas Robinson was one member of that committee, as well as Vicky Oakes, another of our volunteers who have just kind of worked with on a one-on-one basis. But we would love to have a more formal committee again if we had at least like 3 or 4 people interested in doing that. Okay, any other older new business before I head into my favorite part of this meeting, which is the volunteer recognition? Okay, so as I mentioned before, of course, everyone who contributes to this organization in any way with their time, with money are very important to us. But I, in particular, have a soft spot for volunteers because I get to work with them on a day-to-day basis, see all of their skills, appreciate all of the different talents and perspectives that they bring to the organization, and everything that we do, we really couldn't do without that diverse set of skills that we do receive here on a day-to-day basis. So we had 25 active regular volunteers this year. And by that, I mean people who had either a weekly shift where they were coming every week or participated in, more than one activity throughout the year. I'd be remiss to not mention our sort of one-time volunteers or people who are involved in special projects. So we sort of have another smaller group of people who have been coming for things like people like Bill Hill, for example, who facilitate some of our programs. Everyone who is a presenter for our brown bag is a volunteer. We do not actually pay those speakers. So we are very grateful that they are sharing their talents and knowledge with us. We also have a new volunteer group we created this year for the Historic Garden Project. So we've been having some cleanup days outside, and we've had a few people that have come just kind of one time to help with that, including some students. So we're very grateful for all of them. But during this particular volunteer recognition, I'm actually just gonna specifically acknowledge people who are sort of in that more regular category that we do see more than once on a pretty normal basis here. So that group of volunteers, again, not counting all the people that assisted with special projects, also not counting any of the hours that our board members serve, which is many. We had about 1,950 hours done by just our regular volunteers, and that is the equivalent of a full-time staff person. So again, most of what we do is possible because of volunteers. Some of our volunteers are retired professionals or locals with a passion for history, like Pat, who has been with us for many years in many different capacities. I couldn't even tell you everything Pat has done for us over the years, and even Bernie, her daughter, has helped us with things on occasion as well. We also have another group that comprises our volunteers, our working professionals who actually come after work or outside their regular hours to help us, and those are people like Kai, who just went to make copies, and Alexis, who have a full-time job and still give their time. I call them my night crew, so I try to stay late at least one day a week so that they can come after their work hours. We have a fun time in the museum till like 7 or 8 p.m. and sometimes on Saturdays. And just another group of our volunteers are students. We've been very lucky to increase the number of student interns we've had over the past 2 years. Most of them are getting some sort of credit. Class credit for being here. Some of them are actually getting paid through the schools, which is great. We would love to have our own paid internship program. Unfortunately, that is not realistic for us yet. And yet another group of our volunteers are young people in the community, like Zoya, who just joined us recently, who have a passion for history. She actually made the outfit she's wearing, so she also has a lot of historical skills. And they just like to come and contribute their talents and their interests in everything that we do. So no matter what their rationale or their situation for coming to help, we would not be able to do what we do without them. So we are very grateful for your time, energy, creativity, and commitment. I look forward to working with you all in 2025. And just a very abbreviated list of the things that volunteers and interns do while they are here. Processing incoming collections, everything from photographing and cataloging to sending out thank you paperwork to collections donors. They help visitors with research. Mary handles most of those for me right now. Organizing and inventorying the collections items and spaces. I have several people helping with that. Greeting visitors, helping to answer phones. I was here by myself yesterday and running all over the building, so interns actually helped me with that. They assist with bulk mailings. They are currently going to be doing this a lot more, managing our quarterly publication and assisting with all aspects of that. Helping to set up and take down special events like this one. They help to clean and reorganize office spaces and all parts of the museum. They help with program preparation, from coming up with activities for our outreach to actually facilitating those activities, setting up, staffing, taking down. They help to decorate for programs like Dia de los Muertos and our holiday open house. They help in the gift shop. They help with exhibits. They lead programs, do demonstrations, presentations, talks, and tours. So now, if you'll just bear with me a little bit longer, I want to recognize each of them individually. And I just do this in order of the number of hours that they serve per year, but no matter how many hours you have to give, we really value you giving your time to us. So again, it's not a hierarchy, it's just I had to have some structure to remember everybody on my list. So Mary Gilbert, we don't do any official, like, you know, you don't get the gold star award, but Mary did give us and again, it's very hard to do these statistics, so I'm not sure. It's probably not a completely accurate number of everything that's done. Because I don't know how many emails you're answering from home. She checks our archives email for us. But Mary has given us 328 hours, almost 329 hours this year.
We got that on there.
All right. Next on my list is Lynn Matot. Now, these are hours. Lynn, of course, is the secretary of our board, but Lynn actually started with us as a volunteer and continues to give an enormous amount of time outside of her board duties on other projects that she helps us with. And again, I will be recognizing all of the board members separately in a different way later, but today is just about our volunteers who are really here doing all the many projects. I can't even tell you everything that Lynn does for us here. There's way too many things to name, but she actually started with us by scanning our photographs, upstairs in the collection and now helps with programming, has taken over the quarterly, does so many things for us on a daily basis. And she has given us 267 hours just on those types of projects. And next we have, of course, the infamous, famous Pat Dominy. This year at 91, almost 91, right, years old, has given us 225 hours of her time in collections on many different projects, anything from, everything from research to, she's very good at making lists and very good at organizing. So she has inventoried, really gotten us cleaned up and in better shape upstairs. But she's not beyond coming down and pitching in to fold papers or help with the bulk mailing when needed. So Pat is also one to just pitch in and help however and whenever we need her. So this is Brenda. Sure, thank you. Now, Vanna is going to help and pass out. Okay, so a little bit less walking now for the audience. Okay, that is not the right page. Sorry, I have too many pages to keep track of. Okay, next on the list, a new volunteer who just started with us at the end of 2023 and has been here, even comes on his lunch break. So this is one of my night crew who works at the county courthouse in the real property office. So he has not only helped with different advice on mapping and me trying to find principled maps, sometimes going to visit him and ask him questions about where people can find their house on different maps. But Kai has also been doing a lot of moving of things around upstairs, downstairs. It's very nice to have a young person who does not have so many in back problems who can help to move things. So who has back problems and still helps move things. So Kai Weber has put in 134 hours so far this season. And next on my list is my second in the elite night crew member club. It's a very small club right now, but we might be expanding soon. So Alexis Michael lives and works in Ogdensburg at the diocese and comes after work and helps with cataloging, organizing the collection. She is also willing to pitch in wherever I need her for any number of collections projects or other projects, even helping to move things up and down between the second and third floor. So Alexis has given us approximately 93 hours this year. Next on my list, another my Monday collection crew. So Pat and Mary and Marsha are usually here on Mondays. So Marsha Thompson Amiot also helps us upstairs in organizing, refiling, making lists, any and every little project that needs to be done in the research room or in the archives. Marsha is happy to pitch in. She also was responsible for a large donation that came to us during COVID, which is she's still helping us sort through and process of the Todd family materials, which was a James Todd was your uncle, correct? So has helping us sort through that. So Marsha has done approximately 73 hours so far this year. Okay. And now for Cheryl, who is online. Cheryl is also a board member, but also started here as a volunteer and continues to volunteer her time due obviously to her things going on in her personal life, and also even with knee surgery, she's still involved just from home. Cheryl, I did not actually have a great exact number of how many hours you did this year outside of board stuff, but I figured it was well over 50, given the amount of work you put into the personnel policy and all of the grant applications that you do. So without Cheryl, a lot of these grants that we've been getting lately, we wouldn't have gotten because she's kind of my de facto, she's become our de facto grant writer. So we are very grateful for Cheryl, and also not to forget her husband, Jim, who has helped us with a lot of our building and grounds projects, and all kinds of building needs. He's also available for advice when I have questions about contractors. So that is a very helpful thing for me as well. So Cheryl, I have something for you here next time you're in.
Thank you, Carlene. I appreciate it. And I will be up at some point this week to pay my auction, to pick up my auction gifts.
Okay, yes, we were bidding against each other for the pie, and then one of the pies, I just gave it to you.
Yeah. Do I need to give you a flavor? Do I have to tell you what kind I want, or am I
Yes.
limited?
Yeah, tell us what you want and we will put in that order.
Okay.
Okay, and next on my list, another one of our volunteers who I did mention earlier. But Molly Mott has been helping us with all aspects of the garden. We now have regular meetings with her to kind of check in on progress and to get advice. She helped to design some of the plants, to do research on some of the historic varieties that we will be putting in the garden. So it's going to have culinary, medicinal, edible, and decorative plants that could have been grown in the county historically and to some extent are still grown today. I didn't have a great exact number of hours for Molly either, because she likes to slip in early in the morning and slip out before I ever know she's here. But I know she has put in well over 50 hours on the garden just in the time she's here weeding, cleaning things, and also of course for our meetings and our advice and our emailing. So thank you for everything you're doing. Next on my list, someone who's not here, he's actually my best friend, so I wrote him into volunteering. He's working today. Tim Parker has put in about 50 hours of time doing handyman stuff, mostly before we had Sarah here to help us with those projects. So Tim did everything from helping to install the new slat wall in the gift shop to helping to disconnect the pipes when all of the flooding happened in our building in the spring. So I kind of call him whenever I need him on a Monday through Wednesday to help with those projects. Another person who could not be here today, but I want to recognize, she has done a lot of work for us from home. You won't see her a lot in the museum, but Vicki Oakes has put in nearly 47 hours this year in helping to create education programs for all of the different things that we do. She often gives me ideas and even works on templates and things from home, and sometimes comes and drops them off to the museum. She also helped us cut all the black fabric that is now kind of lining some of our shelves in here. So she is a woman of many talents. Also is really good at making cards. So some of the cards we have in the gift shop came from her. So I would like to recognize Vicki. Another volunteer who I think maybe is still online. She's sick today, so she could not be here in person. But Courtney LaPointe is another relatively new volunteer for us who started at the beginning of the year. She has experience, she works at Corning and has experience with making a lot of lists. She's very organized, helping with databases. So she has actually been working a little bit in person and mostly remotely on some finding aids and helping to improve some of the different resources we have to find collections. Hopefully you'll get to meet her in person at some point. She also has 2 cute dogs that come in when she's here, so we love it when she's here in person. And she also helped me to paint the cubbies in the gift shop in our new coat room. So thank you very much to Courtney who put in nearly 40 hours. Maybe more. I didn't know all the hours you had done from home, but I estimated. Another volunteer who couldn't be here today, Gabriel Roberts, started also kind of at the end of 2023, is usually here on Tuesday mornings. And Dave is responsible for the doll case that's back there behind you, and also the milk and maple exhibit that's over here. Gabe can only come in a few hours a week, but has been helping a lot with exhibits and some collections cataloging as well. So Gabe put in about nearly 36 hours so far this year as well. And then almost at the end of my list here, 2 volunteers who are here in person. One who's very new to us, So Zoya actually just started, like, just under 2 months ago, and has already put in 12 hours helping us with anything that I asked her to do. So she sewed a lot of tags on things I had a whole stack of stuff up in the research room, blankets, clothing that was waiting to have tags sewn into it, and I don't have time to sew stuff. A lot of my other volunteers don't necessarily know how to sew stuff, but Zoya is an expert seamstress, so has sewn a bunch of things, has organized a bunch of things for us, has also helped to decorate and sort, and so we're very excited that she has recently joined our team. Okay, and another volunteer that we don't see as often as we'd like, but we're always happy when you're here. So Ryan Nolan has also done about 12 hours this year, and he has an interest, as you may have heard, in Civil War history and other old objects, and so he has helped us with various things in the collection spaces, moving things, organizing things. He also helped to do some photo scanning this year. So thank you, Ryan, for all of your help. Now, I mentioned quickly 2 other volunteers who are not here today, but Dallas Robinson, who I mentioned, who is helping by going into schools and kind of getting that program going again, and is, yes, a costumed historic reenactor. So that's been a great skill set to have, and also helping on the Ed committee. And then Derek Conway, who's also fairly new to us, but he's been helping at most of the garden parties that we've had. So we are very grateful for them as well. Not least, I wanted to say the interns for their own little category. So we have been very lucky to have 7 interns this year, which is the most interns I have ever worked with. And it's very hard to keep track of everyone. So they have already graduated and cannot be here with us now, but I wanted to recognize Iris Miller White from SLU. She was here with us in the spring. She put in about 24 hours working on education kits and helping prepare things for the summer outreach season. Kinsley Cole, also a SLU grad, who's now living in Vermont and doing some awesome things at a nonprofit there. So I like to think, I don't totally want to take credit, but she was a hockey player, and I don't even remember what she studied, but she now is working in museums, and so I'm very excited about that. She was actually the one responsible for the garden graphic that you see our sponsorship levels. She created those for us. So she was here for about 18 hours in the spring semester. And then another exciting first for us, we had a high school intern from the Ogdensburg BOCES, Hayden Mandigo, sorry. He put in about 20 hours for us, creating an introductory video that is not yet finished, but will hopefully soon be finished. He graduated as well and joined like mid-semester, so he didn't have time to finish the video, but hopefully we'll have a welcome video that plays in the Silas Wright room, the Wright family room near the front of the museum that he actually started and was working on for us. So maybe just a quick round to recognize those who. And again, last but not least, I now want to recognize our current interns. So Alondra Maldonado Espinoza has been with us for 2 semesters in the summer and fall. She is, I can't say first ever, but first since I've been here, SUNY Canton intern. So we are super excited to have a lot more SUNY Canton involvement. Alondra has done everything from outreach during the summer and helping to work and prepare that she has a very artistic eye, so she's helped design flyers and work on PowerPoints and do all kinds of those, basically anything I ask her to in person. But she is also responsible for helping to create the Day of the Dead program that we did and to share her culture with our larger community here. Alondra is originally from Mexico, and having her, expertise to be able to make an altar to create some of the activities and traditions that we did here for the first time was very exciting to expand the kind of programming that we do. So between the summer and to date in the fall, Alondra has put in about 216 hours here. So And secondly, my other go-to intern, who I couldn't even have gotten things ready for this event without, Emily Langer. Where did she go? Oh, there, over here. So Emily joins us from SUNY Potsdam. She is an unpaid intern, so she is doing all of this for us just for the love of, I'm not sure, but here, she is doing, is it 8 credits? 6 credits. So it's a 6 credit internship, which is the equivalent of about 2 classes. She's with us 4 days a week. So 2 days just afternoons, 2 full days, and helps us with, I can't even list all of the things that she does, but one of the things I'm reminded of daily is all of the letters in the gift shop, the new signage that we have on the wall, the vinyl letters. Thanks to Emily in the library for, that's another Cricut project. Free Cricut from the library. We did our own vinyl letters and saved a lot of money on signage. I know that wasn't your favorite project anyways. We did learn a lot about Cricut. So yes, Emily helps us with everything from programs to exhibits to collections to less fun projects we can talk about. But she has to date put in 185.5 hours. And finally, we're very lucky. This is another first, or a first in a while for us. We have 2 SLU interns who are actually here as part of the, I always forget what it's called, the community-based learning. Community-based learning. Okay, I'm really terrible with acronyms, so I'm like. So community-based learning, which is a program through SLU where students can gain real-world experience working in local businesses and organizations. It's a little different than like taking it as a credit for a class. So they are just here with us 2 hours a week. They have each been here for 14 hours so far this semester and have a few weeks to go. So Charlotte Hobbs and Mira McCluskey have both been working on some object of the week social media posts for us, doing research into some things in our collection. Have also helped with any other little thing we need, like preparing stuff for the silent auction and helping me figure out some frustrating tech things yesterday that clearly ultimately didn't matter because I had to do them all again. But I am very grateful and excited to have had the opportunity to work with you both this semester. And so thank you to Mira and Charlotte. Okay. Thank you. That concludes my list for volunteer recognition. So if we can just give one more round of applause to all the volunteers here. Mentioned we have 2 new volunteers at the table. So Beth Patrick has actually just started with us last week up in collection. She is going to be helping. She's the potential new photo scanning person we mentioned. Also interested in maybe helping with the Betty Steele collection. And then Katie Berry is joining us from the Chamber of Commerce and will hopefully be using all of her marketing and design experience and everything to help us with perhaps our website, support relief, any number of things. So today's kind of her first official day after this meeting. Now I think I'll hand it over to Bill for adjournment, and then we have anything on the table over here. There's like info, but any of those little pamphlets are up for grabs. We have a million of them, so if you want any of those little books, feel free to take them. There's coffee, water, tea, other beverages, and then food. Please help yourselves. There's a tray over there, and some over here after we officially adjourn. Yeah, so hand it over to Bill.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
I just have a comment, Bill.
Yes.
Before we adjourn, I would just like to say on behalf of the board that how much that we appreciate all the work that Carlene has done this year, taking on after moving from a shared leadership to taking everything on and the rebranding and all of the things that she's accomplished. I think she certainly deserves at least a round of applause. Thank you, Carlene.
Thank you, and thank you to all of our members who joined today. It's exciting. The past 2 annual meetings, we haven't really had new members, so it's very exciting to have members again at the meetings. I know we're a little cramped in here. We might go back to a restaurant next year. But yeah, it's exciting to have so many people, and thank you for those who joined us online as well. And we look forward to seeing you soon here in person or at one of our events. So we are going to actually end the Zoom portion of the meeting, because at this point, any of us here in person are welcome to mingle, to enjoy the refreshments, but we're actually gonna, and to also go on tours. The museum is open, so feel free to walk self-guided, or if you'd like to join the collections committee on a little bit of a guided tour. Yes, Carol?
How about the auction? Is it possible to pay up today and take
Oh,
our
I-
items home?
Believe so, yes.
Is there somebody going to-
Caitlin can help you with that. They are also both here.
So
Yes.
is the Day of the Dead altar still up?
We just took it down and have transitioned to prepare for decorating for the holiday open house, so the table is kind of in a sort of Thanksgiving scene.
That would have been nice for people to see.
Yes, that's true, but what? Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I can put the slideshow back up. So thank you to everyone online. We're gonna officially adjourn and probably end the Zoom portion, but I'll bring the slideshow back up.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
We have many seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yes.
Please enjoy the refreshments,
Okay.
and I believe there are going to be some